Who let Thomas Tuchel cook? He is right now trying to bring in depth for Bayern Munich with the possibilities of two of his players in Gravenberch and Pavard possibly leaving because Man United and other clubs are heavily linked. But the replacements that he has for those two players are absolutely horrid. For the center back position, he wants to bring in Chalobah, who can't even get any playing time, can't get into the squad after that $1 billion investment from Todd Bowley. He can't even get any playing time. And he is going to manage to upgrade a Bayern Munich from Chelsea to Bayern. Chalobah, lads. This lad is a decent squad player. I won't say anything too bad about him. You know, he's a nice fourth, fifth option of center back here at Chelsea. But when you go to Bayern Munich, one of the three biggest clubs in the world, you cannot tell me that Chalobah should be there. And 3, 2, 1. What is Thomas Tuchel cooking? This man at the moment is having the possibility of Gravenberch leaving and even Pavard. But Pavard is not as likely. But the two replacements for those two players that he is heavily linked on and really wants to bring in, one of them is Chalobah, the sixth option for Chelsea when it comes to the center back position. This lad has fallen out of the team because of the lack of quality that he brings into the squad. And here comes Thomas Tuchel, who did debut him. I understand that. He knows him better than a lot of other managers. But to bring him to Bayern Munich, the biggest team in Germany, there's no question about that. A top 3 team in the world. Just brought in Harry Kane, right? You want Chalobah, mate. You can do a lot better than Chalobah, all right? And you know, you might be thinking, oh man, it doesn't get any worse than that. And this one, I'll give him a slight pass. Not a complete pass, but a slight pass because he did debut him. He's used him ever since he was at Chelsea. You know, he's brought him up. He knows him well. He probably thinks he could use him in some way over there, you know, as a fourth, fifth option center back. But this next one, because Gravenberch, a CDM from Bayern, you know, he is probably on the way out because he has had a lack of playing time and he really wants to play next season. He doesn't care if it's at Bayern or any other club. And Man United are heavily interested. And Thomas Tuchel said, you know what? I'm a big fan of one of their center mids. You might thinking, oh man, Bayern might be in for Casemiro or something like that. Scott McTominay, mate. Scott McTominay. That's what they want. He thinks he could be the next Bastian Schweinsteiger. Like, how is this man the manager of Bayern? That is a disrespect. Scott McTominay does bring a lot of energy to the field, but he doesn't bring any qualities, mate. No quality. At a footballistic standpoint, there is no comparison between Scott McTominay and Schweinsteiger. The only comparison you can make is that they both played for Bayern and United if this move happens. That's it. That is it. There is no way a German legend in Schweinsteiger, who will go down in the history of Germany, you know, World Cup champ, compared to Scott McTominay, Carabao Cup champion. What are we talking about? Dude, if I see Thomas Tuchel find a way to get Gravenberch at United and Scott McTominay at Bayern, this man is just absolutely blew up the kitchen over there at Bayern Munich. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's sacked right when he's out of this round of 16 of the Champions League, because there's no way I'm going to see Chalobah starting at center back and Scott McTominay starting at CDM in the Champions League round of 16 for Thomas Tuchel and expect them to beat the likes of City, Real Madrid, Arsenal, even Newcastle. I can see getting through that. Imagine Scott McTominay, right, starting with, let's say, Goretzka, and then you see on the other side of Newcastle's midfield, Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes. They're going to eat him up alive. Those two midfielders are more than twice the player than Scott McTominay is. Dude, oh my. It's absolutely disgraceful to even think that Scott McTominay deserves to go to Bayern. This man is going to manage to upgrade. This lad couldn't get a game at Burnley, mate. He couldn't get a game at Burnley. You're going to tell me he's going to go and play and be a role player for Bayern Munich. This lad is championship quality when it comes to footballing. All right, I understand he can get away with fouls. He's physical. Defensive wise, he can do a shift at times. But when you really look at the style of play and his quality on the ball, it has no comparison to Schweinsteiger. It has no comparison to one of the big clubs in the world, and he has no right, because he has not performed well enough to make a bigger move. There are bigger players than Scott McTominay that deserve to be making that move to a bigger club. And the fact that Thomas Tuchel has eyed him and wants him immediately is an absolute disgrace to Bayern Munich. And I'd be worried if I was a Bayern Munich fan, because the talent ID from Thomas Tuchel is absolutely atrocious if he gets these two deals done and then he lets Pavard and Gravenberch go to Man United. That would be an absolute fleece for Man United. And that's one thing I don't want to see, is Bayern Munich allowing Man United to, become one of the big teams by, getting their players that nobody wants. What's next? You want Harry Maguire? Do you want Harry Maguire next? Jesus Christ, lad. And look at the depth chart here. It's hold up, give me a sec. The depth chart. In goal, obviously you're waiting for Neuer to come back. You let Sommer go. Right now you're starting Oldrich. Back four, Alphonso Davies is the left back. There's no way he's losing his position. Then you have the option at center back. Two of these three will always be starting: Kim Min-jae, Upamecano, De Ligt, and then Pavard could also play center back in case there's an injury and you want to put him in. Then, Guerreiro here can play left back, when Alphonso Davies is hurt or he's not there. And then you have, Pavard and Mazzari that play right back. So right there, you're kind of set defensively. There's no need for no Chalobah. And you also have Sarr right here, but Chalobah, no reason for him to come into to Bayern, in my opinion. If I'm them, I keep Pavard. That's it. I'm keeping him. Kimmich, Goretzka, Leimer, Gravenberch are the four players that play CDM, because obviously, Bayern plays with two. And then you got, wingers, I believe they're set. Striking option, I believe they're set as well. But lads, I just cannot see a world where Scott McTominay and Chalobah fit into Bayern Munich and Bayern Munich don't lose any quality, if that makes sense. Because Thomas Tuchel at the moment, I have no idea what he sees in these players, if he wants to bring physicality or not. That is not the problem at Bayern. Last season, the problem at Bayern was they had a couple injuries in the defensive side of the ball, and then they didn't have a proper striker. I understand, they had Choupo-Moting and all this, but lads, there's a big difference from Choupo-Moting and Harry Kane. Harry Kane scored 30 goals in the Premier League last season. Choupo-Moting couldn't do it at Stoke. You see? So there's an obvious upgrade over here for Harry Kane. And honestly, as an Arsenal fan, the only team I'm genuinely scared of drawing in the group stage is Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich has all the Arsenal killers, has a whole bunch of quality in the squad. But if I see Scott McTominay and Chalobah starting, I'm going to feel like Arsenal are the better team. But if I see, Kimmich, Goretzka, Kim Min-jae, Upamecano, De Ligt, those players starting, then obviously I'm going to be like, yo, there's a world-class squad on the other side. We're going to have to play on our best, and we might not even get the 3 points when Arsenal comes on their day, because if Bayern comes on their day, it's absolute wraps. We could see the repetition of the 10-2 aggregate. But I would still be confident, obviously. But I'm just saying, Scott McTominay, Chalobah, no chance these lads fit into Bayern. Thomas Tuchel will be on the hot seat if he brings these two in. And there's no reason to be on the hot seat. Your squad is set. Don't you bring in McTominay, mate. I'm telling you right now, your job is locked in. But anyways, leave a comment down below if you think Scott McTominay and Chalobah would fit into Bayern, or do you think Thomas Tuchel has absolutely blown up the kitchen when he was, left to cook.